would introduce myself, kind of tell you the road that I've been on so far in getting my business up and going. Like I started out about 6 years ago working for the big guys in town, doing heat and air conditioning, doing install for those guys. And I did it for about 2 years. I did install for about 2 years, and we were busy every single day. We always had an install to do. Obviously when I started out, I didn't know anything. I was completely green when I started out. I didn't even know how to put on duct work or change out a condenser, braze. I didn't know any of that stuff. Fortunately, these guys were nice enough to teach me, one day at a time, one step at a time. I had several different people teaching me on any given day. I had and fortunately for me, I had some really good teachers showing me the way to do things. So I could tell, the guys that failed, the guys that washed out of learning how to do HVAC were the guys who always had to be talking. The guys that were why do you do it that way? Well, when with the company where I just came from, we used to do it this way, and blah blah blah, and my dad taught me how to do it this way, and we did it that way. It's like the way to get going. I found out pretty quick the way to get going was put your head down, show up to work on time, and work, and everything will be all right. So I just knew, being humble and keep my head down was the way to go. And it paid off for me, because like a year later, they made me a lead installer. I knew how to do, pretty much everything install-wise. Obviously not everything, but still learning today. But I knew enough to get to lead a crew and become super efficient at it. I think I can definitely thank most likely one lead installer who taught me how to become super efficient and really good at what we did. I was his partner, I was his helper for I don't know, probably 6 months, and we just got really good. He showed me a lot of things, and so shout out to Mike Scott, because he was major step in my learning curve. So we got really good at what we did. But after a while, he got out of install, and I kind of followed him and said, you know what, I want to work over on the service side too. And so eventually I finally got over to service. They really don't want to let me go from install, because once you're a good installer, they don't want to let you go. But I did finally get out of install. They moved me into service, started doing maintenances off the bat, and then eventually I finally got to, finally got some actual diagnostic calls. Middle of summer, they're looking for technicians to complete some calls for them, some diagnostic calls, and so they'd be like, Greg, why don't you go do that? And I'm like, yes, I got an opportunity to do a diagnostic. So that was cool. And then a lot of on the service side, as you move up in service, and then you start getting the opportunity to sell systems and get opportunities for older systems. You get a little taste of that extra money that you incentive money that you make for turning over leads to the salesman or selling a system yourself. And so you get hungry and you want that a little bit more and more. And that was definitely the case my case, because I started noticing that a lot of those leads were going to I felt like a lot of those leads were going to other people, and like there was a little bit of favoritism going on with new people from other companies that were coming over, and they sold $500,000 in equipment last year, so those kind of guys got the calls. So it got frustrating after a while. I was talking to another service technician one day when we were changing out an HVAC coil under warranty, when we probably should have been out doing other more profitable calls. But we just had this discussion, and he said, "Man, I'm getting ready to go out on my own." And I was like, "Really? I mean, how do you do that?" And we talked about it, and it really opened my eyes up, and started thinking, man, if he can do it, I know that I can do it. He was a little bit better service technician than me, but I have the install background. And he even said that. He's like, you got install background, so that's going to make you a better, owner or contractor, because you have that experience. So I took the path of paying for a school to give me a bunch of study questions so that I could go after my contractor's license. I went and got I went and studied all those questions. I pretty much had those like 1,000 questions memorized. And when I finally got my test date, I went and took that test, and passed both my law and business and my trade test on the same day. And it really wasn't that hard, but I am glad that I paid for the school to kind of prep me for what kind of questions I would be facing on the exam. So so meanwhile I was submitting my application for getting experience verification. You have to prove that you have 4 years of journeyman level experience in your trade in order to become a contractor. So that was kind of nerve-wracking. I left my company to go pursue my contractor's license because they wouldn't let me pursue it and keep working for them at the same time. But it made it kind of awkward going back to them and saying, hey, can you vouch for me? Like I need somebody to vouch that I do have that 4 years of experience. And so and they were super cool about it. They totally did it, and I really appreciate their professionalism. So right now I'm on the tail end of waiting. I mean, it's been 3 months since I submitted my application, and it's been 3 months for me to get this license number issued to me, and the state moves pretty slow. I'm not trying to bash, but man, things could have gone a little quicker. And when your mind is set up, like, I'm gonna go get my contractor's license and I'm gonna start a business and we're gonna get this show going, but you have to wait 3 months for everything to be official so you don't get in trouble with the law. That takes a lot of wind out of your sails. It's been hard to stay motivated and not get too frustrated, because I've been wanting to just go. My wife's been holding me back, like, you're gonna get in trouble. You need to make sure you got your license number and everything, and you're legit before you start going out there and doing big work. So I've been a good boy. I mean, I've done a couple jobs out there for friends, for people I knew, but everything's been under $500, and which is the cutoff before you're considered a handyman or a contractor. So I got that. So I've been able to do some of that work. We've been getting our prices down, like figuring out, what we're going to charge, people for our services and everything, and that's been, just some tweaking here and there. We've also been setting up our club membership. I know some guys don't like doing preventive maintenance and tune-ups and stuff like that, but I think it's gonna be like the bread and butter of my company. I really believe in preventive maintenance and pushing that kind of stuff, and I think that's gonna really be the backbone of our business. I've got my contractor's bond, I've got my general liability insurance. Man, I tell you what, this and that and the other, it's just been a lot of stuff I've had to set up to get this thing going. We incorporated, so I had to get the articles of incorporation and through the Secretary of State before we could even apply for the contractor's license. I mean, so that was just another part of it. I'm gonna pull over here and finish up my conversation with you guys before I go in the store. But I'm really thankful to have my wife on board. She's my vice president. She's the heart. She's really been a big part of setting up setting up finance and paperwork and just the overall neatness and organization of our company so far. I'm super lucky to have her on board, helping out. It's in a way it's been nice to have this extra time on my hands to set up the business, get things organized. But I'm ready to roll now. I could just leap out of my skin right now. I'm ready to get going, and in reality, it's gonna probably be a slow trickle before I even really get up and going. But whatever. I mean, it's that's just the way I am. I just wanted to thank guys like Zach Ciota and Israel HVAC, Gray Furnace Man, Dr. Zarklov, Ralph at TNN Services, Stephen Rarden, and Steve Lab. Those guys, most importantly, because I pretty much watch those guys every day. Every single video they've been putting out the last few months. Not only do they talk about the finer points of HVAC and the business, but they talk about, some of these guys actually talk about the everyday aspects of owning an HVAC company. And that's just been, honestly, you cannot buy that kind of information, and these guys are putting it out there on YouTube for free, and it's been extremely helpful for a guy like me starting up. So that's why I'm kind of making these YouTube videos as well, because I want to get my name out there. I want to get my company name out there, and if I can help anybody in the meantime, I want to do that too. So their experience has been greatly appreciated by me. I'm the kind of guy who, I have always listened to the veterans out there in the field. It's how I learn, and it's how I will continue to grow as I begin this journey here on my own, with my wife. As I begin this journey with my wife and I starting this company. So, okay, well, that's it, and I'll try not to make all my videos this long, but I'm really having it's just been an exciting time, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see you guys on the next video.